Bob Dylan 84 Nobel Prize in Literature, 10 Grammy Awards, 1 Oscar. Bob Dylan stands as one of the most influential artists of all time, a bridge between poetry and music, rebellion and reflection, politics and art. Over 6 decades, Dylan has reinvented himself countless times, from the folk troubadour of the 1960s to the rock visionary, country poet, and Nobel laureate. Before we get started, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest content. The early years, from Zimmerman to Dylan. Born Robert Allen Zimmerman in Duluth, Minnesota, Dylan grew up surrounded by the music of Hank Williams, Woody Guthrie, and Elvis Presley. It was in the heartland of America that young Robert discovered the power of lyrics that spoke to real people. In the late 1950s, he moved to Minneapolis and adopted the name Bob Dylan, inspired partly by poet Dylan Thomas. By 1961, he arrived in New York City, determined to make his mark in the burgeoning folk scene of Greenwich Village. His early performances in smoky coffeehouses, harmonica in hand and guitar slung across his shoulder, captured something raw and new, an unpolished honesty that audiences found magnetic. Dylan's voice, rough and unpredictable, became his weapon of truth. The folk revolution and protest songs. In the early 1960s, Bob Dylan became the voice of America's conscience. His songs, Blowin' in the Wind, The Times There at Chong'in, and Masters of War, gave rhythm to a generation's struggle for civil rights and peace. Dylan didn't preach, he questioned. His lyrics embodied uncertainty, demanding listeners to think, reflect, and act. He stood alongside icons like Joan Baez at civil rights marches, his harmonica echoing through the air as a symbol of hope. Yet, even at his most political, Dylan refused to be boxed into a single ideology. He saw himself not as a protest singer but as a chronicler of truth. Expressing the turbulence of the times with words that transcended slogans and became timeless art. Going electric. The sound that shocked the world. In 1965, Dylan made one of the boldest moves in music history. He went electric at the Newport Folk Festival. The audience, accustomed to his acoustic folk purity, reacted with boos and outrage. But Dylan was undeterred. Songs like a Rolling Stone, and Maggie's Farm, introduced rock's raw power into his poetic universe. The electric sound was revolutionary, blending surreal lyrics with a driving rhythm that redefined modern songwriting. Critics were divided. Purists felt betrayed. Yet, Dylan's electric phase expanded the boundaries of what popular music could express. He wasn't abandoning folk, he was evolving it into something new, a voice of modern consciousness. The mid-60s trilogy, Poetic Perfection. Between 1965 and 1966, Dylan released 3 albums, Bringing It All Back Home, Highway 61 Revisited, and Blonde on Blonde, that redefined popular music. These records showcased his mastery of language, symbolism, and emotional depth. Dylan became both poet and prophet, navigating fame, alienation, and introspection. Songs like Desolation Row, Visions of Johanna, and Just Like a Woman blended surrealism with raw humanity. His lyrics blurred the line between literature and song, challenging listeners to decode their meaning. With each verse, Dylan invited his audience into a dreamscape of metaphors and shifting realities. Retreat and reinvention. The late 60s and 70s. After a near-fatal motorcycle accident in 1966, Dylan retreated from public life, disappearing at the height of his fame. But the silence birthed reinvention. He returned with John Wesley Harding and Nashville Skyline, embracing country and simplicity over chaos and complexity. His music became quieter, more reflective, songs about faith, love, and domesticity replacing the protests of the past. The 1975 album Blood on the Tracks brought emotional vulnerability to the forefront, widely believed to reflect his crumbling marriage. It revealed Dylan's most human side, heartbreak, longing, and regret filtered through poetic grace. spiritual awakening and gospel years. In the late 1970s, Dylan shocked fans again, this time by embracing Christianity. Gone were the ambiguous metaphors, in their place came direct proclamations of faith. His albums Slow Train Coming and Saved reflected newfound spiritual conviction, earning him both praise and criticism. Yet even in religious form, Dylan's artistry thrived. Songs like Gotta Serve Somebody combined soulful energy with moral questioning. It was another transformation, one rooted not in rebellion against society but in reconciliation with self. Though controversial, this phase underscored Dylan's lifelong pursuit of truth through art. The 80s and 90s, the resilient wanderer. The 1980s were turbulent for Dylan, critically uneven albums and shifting musical landscapes challenged his dominance. Yet, the wanderer refused to fade. He toured relentlessly, honing his live performances and rediscovering his roots. By the 1990s, albums like Time Out of Mind marked a triumphant resurgence, winning him the Grammy for Album of the Year. His voice had aged into a gravelly whisper, perfectly suited to songs of mortality and reflection. Dylan was no longer chasing youth or fame. He was chronicling the passage of time, crafting music that spoke to the inevitability of change and the endurance of the human spirit. The Nobel Prize, when lyrics became literature. In 2016, the world witnessed an unprecedented moment. Bob Dylan became the first musician to win the Nobel Prize in literature. The award recognized his profound influence on poetic expression within the American song tradition. Some critics questioned whether song lyrics could be literature. The Nobel Committee answered resoundingly, yes. Dylan's words had transcended melody to become part of the world's literary heritage. His Nobel marked the ultimate validation of his lifelong fusion of poetry and song. True to form, Dylan responded with mystery, initially silent, then offering a humble acceptance speech that quoted Homer and Melville. Legacy and influence on generations. Bob Dylan's influence stretches beyond music. It shaped thought, culture, and identity. From the Beatles and Bruce Springsteen to contemporary artists like Jack White and Lana Del Rey, his lyrical style remains a blueprint for authenticity. His songs have been covered more than any artist in history, proving their universal power. Dylan taught the world that a song could be a poem, a rebellion, or a prayer. He gave artists permission to be imperfect, raw, and honest. His restless evolution showed that success lies not in pleasing others, but in staying true to your art, even when the world misunderstands you. The timeless artist at 84. At 84, Bob Dylan remains an enigma, a poet still touring, still writing, still evolving. Time has weathered his voice but not his passion. His latest works, including Rough and Rowdy Ways, 2020, reveal a man at peace with his past yet still searching for meaning. Dylan's concerts are spiritual experiences, blending old hymns with new revelations. He has become the living embodiment of his own lyrics. He not busy being born is busy dying. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching.